Hi, hello, I'm Kori Nicole with Words of Us TV. How are you?
I'm very well. Lovely to meet you.
No, it's lovely to meet you. Even watching the screener, I was like, oh my gosh, he's so amazing. I mean, how was it portraying this like villain role?
It was a joy. It's a dream for any actor to play something so removed from who they are, and also something written by James Gunn, who's a master of character development. So from the first page where I read this guy, and the first thing he was doing, in it was this space opera, his life, and I had the time of my life. I know he's despicable and does some pretty horrible things, but I genuinely had the time of my life doing it.
Yeah, no, he was definitely a very interesting character, and I feel like it's interesting is definitely the best word. So even you mentioned, character development, and I can already tell like you're definitely like a pro, especially with your experience and your training. So tell me a little bit about that process of getting into the character.
A big part of it, there was a hint, and I don't think I'm giving anything away, is that early in the script, he's listening to space opera. So that told me a lot about who this guy is, because I love classical music and opera music, and there's something kind of very, very lonely and yet so dramatic about that. So I listened to a whole bunch of my favorite arias, and in fact I sent some to James, a couple of which made it onto the film, just saying this is what I'm listening to. And then I played with the idea of someone who doesn't sleep, and I went back to my Shakespeare, and Henry IV was a big example of that, and that's where the line, heavy is the head that wears the crown. He has this responsibility he's put upon himself. I also wanted to make this guy as regal and really embrace the narcissism. So I got to work with a Pilates instructor, and we worked on a lot of work on the reformer, just to get my back straight. Guys, we tend to hold everything in here, and that's why we feel powerful when actually it's out here. So that when I put on that costume and they put on those prosthetics, and I saw myself and holding myself like that, I genuinely knew how to walk into a room, and that's the beginning of the process,
Yeah, that definitely even portrayed literally everything. I'm like, hanging to your words. I'm like, yes, I even remember that. And that is so amazing that you even incorporated like all of that training. Because I know a lot of actors, or even like young up-and-coming actors trying to get into the industry, they don't really understand the true like depths of the training that you have to go through, even stuff that they may not even thought of, like, physical therapy, or like just training on how to sit and how to, embrace yourself. So what would you even say to those like young actors who are fans of you and who are fans of like Marvel and who want to start something like this about their training?
Yeah, I would just say to them, don't start at the end, start at the beginning. There was no part of me that said I was going to be a Marvel actor. There's no way I could have tracked my way to there. If you start at the beginning, it all comes down to craft, homing your craft. Craft is another word for saying study. Study, study, study. Go away when you get a script or a play you want to work with, or you're hoping to an audition you want to work with. You need to go away somewhere where no one's watching. There's no audience. It's just you and that script, and you study it. You drill those lines. You let the imagination come alive, and work hard. It's like homework, because we always end at the glamorous side of it when the lights are flashing and stuff. But the only reason I got this role is that I was working with James Gunn, and he saw the product of study and decided, you're the one I want to use for this. It wasn't me saying to James, I want to play the High Evolutionary. So I would just say to young actors, don't start at the end, start at the beginning.
Yeah, and definitely, even for like crazy diehard fans for Marvel, like, do you think they're going to be satisfied or very excited about the yes? How do you think they're going to take it?
They're going to be very satisfied with this movie, because especially if you're fans of the first two, it takes all the elements we love of the first two, and does a deep dive into them for the final chapter.
And I cannot wait for them to see it. And thank you so much again for sitting down with me. It was such a pleasure. Thank you so much.